Showtime.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dynamite Download Show. I am, of course, your reigning champion currently of all things Dynamite Download Draft. I am Mind Runner, and with me is the man with the always in the shades, the SPD. What's up, SPD? I understand you were recently blessed by the ECW hardcore legend, Tommy Mr. Dreamer.
Yes. So that was a cool experience. You know, I touched base on that one. That was, I was, you know, if you saw us on social media and you saw my post on the story, you saw something, a very rare thing, what you just did. You're without shades. And so SPD has only revealed, it's like a luchador without his mask.
Yeah.
You know, very few times, but I didn't want to run back to my backpack and get my shades for the photo, even though I told him, I said you know, my gimmick, I'm always on with shades on, but I was flying out to San Diego where I am right now. Cheers to the weekend.
Cheers to the weekend.
And I saw the back of his head in line for the Delta Sky Club, and I was like, wait, that looks like him, but I wasn't sure because he had like this like half little ponytail. And then I bought, as he was like leaving it, I was going to like the buffet or whatever. I was like, Tommy Dreamer, legend. And then he was like super nice. He started talking to me about, right away, he's like, hey, what's your name? How you doing? He's like, where are you from? And then we started chit-chatting. And I said, yeah, you got a show here tonight. I wish I could go, but I'm flying out of town. And then I told him about our podcast, Dynamite Download. He said to tag him in it. And he's like, yeah, my podcast is my own. I'd come on your show, but I can't because of my podcast. But we were chit-chatting a little about that. And then, focusing on, obviously, our mission is the positivity. And he goes, yeah, I know a lot of my negativity stuff gets a lot of clicks. It's a very hard thing to do. And, chit-chat a little about AEW. But, man, the guy was super nice. Very, very nice guy, as most wrestlers are. And most people should be. They're just other humans. But super nice guy. I'm glad I went up to him and said, hey. And I appreciate the picture from Tommy Dreamer, absolute legend himself.
That's phenomenal, dude. He is a legend, man. And he was in the Battle Royal. I believe it was the All In, or it was one of the Battle Royals he was in. It was like that overstuffed Battle Royal.
Right.
It was it All In. And in fact, yeah, he was a legend. He came to the ring, I think, with a trash can and all kinds of plunder. Great stuff. Great. Legendary.
Yeah, and really of course, cool.
He is colleagues with Thunder Rosa.
I know. I meant to say that afterwards. I was like, crap, but Thunder's been on our show.
Yeah, it's all good. All good. I'm sure.
Send her a message and tell her.
Yeah, say,
or I'll send her the photo.
Send her the photo. Say, yeah, hey, look, we found your colleague. All kinds of cool stuff going on. Is Darby dead? What?
Yeah, for those of you watching so I gotta say, before we start our World's End preview show, Dynamite Download had that Friday nights cornered with Friday night flights and fights. We had that 10 o'clock time slot cornered. AEW comes in and swoops it up from us for Rampage, goes on quite an impressive run of Rampage, and now tonight is the finale. We cheers to that, and then we pour one out for Rampage. But leading into tomorrow's World's End, I saw a little spoiler. I read a little spoilers just because I was a little antsy about the Rampage, but I didn't know about what was going to partake at the end of the show with Darby getting a chair stomped on his neck and throw down the steel steps, and then just absolute mayhem in the ring. Pretty wild way to go out on Rampage for Rampage, considering that was like the last show up to the pay-per-view. But man, it was wild.
That's the funny thing. Everybody was expecting Dynamite to be the go-home show. but it was
No,
like
this felt like it.
this was actually the go home show itself. Actually, that was
Right.
hilarious.
I'm just
But
writing down. I got my notes
yeah.
here for our little bingo card. I'm writing down all the matches. But as we are progressing through the show, if anything gets announced, we will add it to the bingo card while we're on our show tonight. I'll keep looking officially. But as of now, it looks like the card is set. But before we go in there, you want to talk about where we're at?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to announce they did add a 0-hour match, and I've actually
Okay.
included it in our picks. So
Oh, good.
we'll get to that in just a moment. But before we get to the picks, before we can get our mojo going, let's take a look at where we are in the draft. And I'm going to do I'm going to do the across the nation version. I can always go back and change and mute it for monetization. But here we go. It is time for the draft.
Now get the guns, the drugs from my generation. I'll take the fall, the stage, and across the nation. And it's a sin, the guns, the fake, the fraud, the messing with me. Come on, come on, come on, let's get it on. Move to the music, play like fucking music. Move into the music, yeah. Move to the music, play like fucking music.
And as of end of Rampage, this is all the way up to Nick Wayne losing to Hook as the last match of Rampage as of all time. And look at how things are cooking up. I am in striking distance from several people here. And as you can see, at Steven, Brent, SBD, Brian, all dangerously within 10 points of hitting me up. Full Tilt Deb is leading the top of the right side of the bracket. Bobby right behind her. Cray, for your Dynamite Download trivia, Cray got the last point ever on Dynamite for Hook's win. And then Courtney's on the bringing up the rear, but you never know that whatever you are here, there's going to be, it's going to be the tides will turn going into the next draft season. And we're going to make some subtle changes that are going to make it even more fun, I think.
Yeah, and as of now, we have it on our YouTube page. January 10th is going to be the next draft. So as of now, we want to make sure who's confirmed, who's in on that, and because we want everyone to participate again. So as of now, let us know in the chat if it works. Send us a message on Instagram or X, any of that, and we'll move forward for season 5 draft after World's End. But yeah, like you said, man, you are within striking distance. So Brian this bingo card is very, very important, and there's not a lot of wiggle room because I'm writing down 7 matches here, and it's not like we can write the 8th down for the Continental Classic champion. Maybe that could be like we could do 2 bonus points on the bingo card if we want to do 2 bonus points of pick your winner of the Continental Classic champion, and then the tiebreaker or 1 bonus points for the bingo card who wins the Continental, and then the tiebreaker is the time limit as well for the main event. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think if you pick the who's going, that could be one of 2 tiebreakers, because let's do that. Let's give a bonus 2 point. I like that.
Bonus 1 point on your bingo card.
Yep. Well, you're gonna get if you pick who's gonna win the Continental Classic. Let's make it interesting. You know what? 5 extra points.
No, that's too many.
All right, 3.
No, so it's for the bingo card. So let's just say you got 5 out of 7 right, and then you get an additional point for picking that winner. Then you could potentially get that +3. It's just a bonus point since we don't know who's going to be.
I was thinking,
maybe next time. 5. There's almost only like 5 matches on this thing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So it's very tight. So anything can
So
happen.
you could pick who is going to win the Continental Classic. That'll get you 1 bonus point on your bingo card, not on your standings, for the
I
chance
got
to
you.
win
I
that
got
+3.
you. Let's do that. Let's do that. You get an extra point if you pick the winner of the Continental Classic.
Yeah.
I would like to also nominate,
Okay.
because there's no way anyone's going to catch me. No way at
You're just
all.
asking for it.
I think whoever gets the bingo card correct should get 5 points.
It's a
Or should we
5-point
keep-
bingo card.
Or should we keep it 3? Because there's only a few matches on the list so far.
Let's go through the card,
Okay.
and we could just think about it.
All
We're
right.
throwing. Well, we got to stay consistent through the season.
That's true. That is true.
So
And I
let's
should
stay
respect
consistent.
it.
And then these are some I like the ideas of going forward into maybe the bingo card for pay-per-views is a 5-point swing moving forward, because that could really get you the jump. I mean, back to the standings, I won the last 2 bingo cards. So if I was not there, I'd be down at 31 on the right side of the column. But if I had a +5, that means I would be at 40 points and very much within reach. So I think awesome, Steven. Love to hear it. But before we talk about this year's World's End, I want to show last year's card,
Yeah.
because it's kind of fun to compare where you were, where you are now. Like starting at the bottom, you got Miro, who's been MIA, and Andrade obviously gone.
Wow.
Swerve Keith Lee, an awesome feud there, but also really sparked the world title run that he had. Interesting to see this 8-man tag here.
Isn't that interesting?
Where we're at, then you're going to see these two going toe to toe, Takeshita and Hobbs, and then another 8-man tag. You have kind of an interesting combination there, all-star 8-man tag thrown together there.
Isn't it interesting too that Jericho and Big Bill were on opposite sides of that 8-man tag?
Yeah,
That's wow.
Abaddon, Tony Storm, Riho. So looking at those, I mean, I can't wait to talk about the women's matches, but this definitely was one of the highlight matches. I feel like the no DQ where, he had him up there almost in the Shattered Dreams and he made him quit. But I did love the main event as well.
Yep.
I think that was a really fun main event for that. But this year's card, while I think it's definitely not as stacked, which is I'm happy for. I think the quality of feuds, the quality of matches is tough to beat. Honestly, like the women's matches is some of the stronger matches on a pay-per-view that I've ever seen. I mean, these 4 are top notch, and I think both of these feuds are red hot. And the Continental Classic is red hot going into this World's End, and I think we're going to get some insanely good quality matches tomorrow night.
I'm gonna say something that may be an unpopular opinion apparently on the IWC, but I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna see if you agree and see if the chat agrees with me. But I think the last couple matches that Mercedes Moné has had has shown that she is worth the money spent. Now, granted, a lot of times it does depend on her opponent, and Anna Jay is light years ahead of where she was when she started. She wasn't bad when she started, but coming back from Japan, Anna Jay has really boosted. My only just kind of gripe, but I think it's a placeholder, is that we're repeating some of these matches with Mercedes Moné. But if you notice, she's repeating matches with people that has had better matches with. Like she gels well with Anna Jay. And let's be honest, I think the best match that Mercedes Moné has had in AEW was with Chris Statlander. So I'm thinking this is good. If they can run it back and be at least as good as that last match they had together, this is going to be a banger. I would like for some new feuds to start. I think that, but I think once we're gonna start to see that, as Julia Hart's is already back. Ty Mello just announced that she's going to Japan with Sammy and apparently Luna, which means she's probably going to come back at some point here soon as well. So I'm excited about that. And for crying out loud, Thunder Rosa doing any kind of street fight is, if she does that, her new patented using the table as a ramp. It's going to be
Please.
incredible. And
Yes.
this is going to be such a great match. And I just put it to the chat. We'll get to it when we get to that match. But is it time for Mariah May to drop the title, or is it Tony time? We'll get to it in a second. But I want you really quickly take a look. I've this time I went with special.
Oh, that's awesome.
World's in images of everybody in the draft here. So I've got we're all in the desert. This is dystopian.
Oh my
Dynamite
gosh, that's
download.
great.
So we're all from in the desert. So when we make our picks,
I love
got
it.
our dystopian picture. Of course, I had to keep BC the leftover taker.
Yeah.
Bobby looks rad. Look at Bobby at the bottom right.
With that hair flowing.
Dude, he looks like Quicksilver from the X-Men. And of course, they had to have Deb smoking a cigarette. Of course, in the future, they don't have menthols. And I got Brent with the trucker hat. Anyways, without further ado, shall we start taking a look at the first match? Can I just say something first?
Oh, you're going to main event, or you're going to? Oh, I see what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Double Dutch in here.
Yeah. Can I go to? And let me move this out of the way here. Can I just first say that this heel Ricochet has become one of my favorite new heels of all time? The TP gimmick that they're throwing toilet paper at him. And his comeback with Swerve, they're building up, of course, to him and Swerve, which is going to be phenomenal. The Ricochet, the laugh, he's going off on Twitter, making everybody mad. I mean, he's really rising as one of my favorite new heels. I'm excited to see. Where this goes. The way but I felt like his win the way that he tied Darby, the way they wrapped that up, and the way the Hammerstein Ballroom, everybody was just so upset with this guy, Hammerstein. But when they tied, what time limit draw, and then they announced Ricochet, because of the time limit draw, Ricochet advances to World's End. The reaction from the crowd was just, if you're a heel wrestler in any promotion and you get that kind of reaction, it's delicious. It's delicious. It's exactly what you want.
Man, I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect for him to really be turning heel than where they were in New York City.
Yeah.
A tough crowd as it is. Whoever brought the TP and all that was awesome. I mean, I think the stars were aligning with his all-in heel turn. Everything he was doing, the match with Darby and, pulling his hair, and it just worked so well. He was able to turn heel so quickly and get so much Inferno heat against Ospreay and Darby, two of the best baby faces. And so it was literally the stars were aligned. Now, the Okada versus Ricochet match, unfortunately, it's a whole nother topic we can talk on, the Okada saga, but he definitely was not one of the standouts of the tournament, in my opinion. However, he is fantastic in the ring. I love what he's doing, but this is a tough one to book, honestly.
Yeah.
So Steven picked Okada versus Ospreay in the final, so we'll mark that down for you on that one, Steven. But I almost am feeling the same thing. Any one of these four would be it's roll the dice in the Yahtzee Cup. It really we're all going to win because we're getting two awesome matches. Then we're going to get a follow-up match. So it's like, I want the Fletcher push, because I would love to have him have the belt with Don Callis and Takeshita have the belt with Don Callis. So it's hard to bet against Fletcher, but at the same time, it's like Fletcher is going to go against who? Okada, when they already fought, like a rematch. Right. Correct me if I'm wrong. They already fought.
Yeah. I think that's it. Actually, what I would like to see Yeah, I think so. I think that there was, and I think Fletcher won. No, yeah, I think Kyle Fletcher won that one. I think so. Let
Yes.
us know in the chat if we were off. I think Fletcher actually beat him. So if you're doing 50-50 booking, I here's my thing. If Okada retains, I can. That's one that feels like we just had a colossal waste of time, and Okada without the Bucks around isn't as dynamic as he is when he's with the Bucks. I almost feel like it was almost like he should have gone with the Bucks, except oh crap, he's also the Continental Champion, so he's got to keep it. Would have been interesting if he dropped the belt and didn't enter the Continental Classic, but
Right.
I feel like without the Bucks, he's kind of lost, with his current status. So of all four of these guys, I don't see Okada retaining the Continental title. I see it going to one of these other three. You follow what I'm saying? But that's the thing.
Yeah, I agree
any
with
of those
you.
other three, I think, deserve it. And this is gonna sound so wild, but in 2024, with the current way storylines are going with AEW, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but of the four, Okada deserves to keep the title the least.
Yeah, it's weird. I think I'm going with the same picks as Steven here.
Okay.
And then my pick is going to be Ospreay winning it all.
Ospreay.
I can't bet against my guy, and you're making a very valid point here, Steven. That kind of gets you redemption, and then allows you to run it back again because this feud was so great. And yes, you could build to the Grand Slam at Australia or Revolution for sure. I like that. So Ospreay win it all. Man, Steven and I are on the same page here. Love it. It's hard to bet against him. With a card that I feel like is going to be heel heavy winning, this is one of the moments where you really need to shine.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Booker mind, not like necessarily fantasy booking, but like I feel like Okada deserves to be in the finals.
Yeah.
Like it just makes sense for him to be in the finals. And then for Ospreay to get another belt, I think that will be a great moment. Cue the confetti.
Confetti.
All
right. Here's the thing. I am also agreeing with you guys about Ospreay. Ospreay's going to defeat Kyle Fletcher, and but this is not the end of the feud. I love the idea that this is the feud to push towards Australia, Grand Slam Australia. Absolutely, because this is got to give the people what they want.
For sure.
Got to give the people what they want. G'day. But I'm going to go against you guys because I think heel Ricochet is going to defeat Okada he's going to weasel his way through. And I predict Ricochet will be your Continental Classic champion. So I don't know if we want to do a third.
No, I could just write it down.
Okay. I'm good.
I like it though, man. I like it.
I think Ricochet is going to be your Continental Classic champion, and it's going to make everybody furious, and I love it.
I think him as the champ would be more impactful than an Ospreay as a champ, because having him be this sleazy heel that he's becoming, I think I like the way that goes. But either way, honestly, like this is the only way I see this being a bust is if Okada retains.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate to pin him down like that,
Yeah, it's sad.
But I could have any of the three winning.
He had to at least get to the semifinals, or there would be a glaring issue that he just doesn't want it anymore. And it actually cheapens the title if the current holder doesn't really advance far with it, because that kind of cheapens the whole thing.
Right.
So yeah, I'm kind of thinking that this is I think that's why he's at least here, but I don't think he goes past Ricochet. I think that's going to be the upset. Do we have Cray on the private line?
We don't have him on the private line yet. So we're going to be making up. I know it's Friday night and it's late, late on East Coast time. I'm on West Coast time, so it's not too bad for me. But thank you, Stephen, for chiming in. We'll get the rest of everyone's picks throughout the morning tomorrow.
Yep.
But let's move on to which one you got next on the deck.
I got.
What about FTD?
What's that?
Is FTD on the line?
Full Tilt Deb is going to make her picks tomorrow. She's busy watching she's making her research right now. She's researching. Okay. She's on cagematch.com. She's comparing her notes, and she might also be watching Hoarders on TV. So we're going to get her picks tomorrow.
All right. I like it.
Well, let's move on to the first of the two big women's matches. And I said this earlier. I think Mercedes Moné versus Statlander was Mercedes Moné's best match in AEW. And a lot of it, of course, was her dance partner, Chris Statlander. But I do think that Mercedes was finally able to showcase what she can really do. I think up until now, she's been kind of struggling to figure out who she is. I think she was starting out kind of as a baby face, but heel CEO. Of course, when she starts the CEO chants, we start doing stinky ho, stinky ho,
hey,
stinky ho.
We're PG here.
Yeah, we are. But she is I think this is again going to be another banger like it was. They just have to be as good as the last one, if not better. And I think it's actually going to be better. I think this is going to be a phenomenal match. I don't always get frustrated when you run something back so soon. But I do think this is marking time for future feuds that are coming up. I think as we go into January and go and work our way towards Double or Nothing, not beyond Revolution,
right?
Mercedes is going to start getting some much more interesting feuds. So I do think Mercedes retains, but I do think this is going to be a banger and it's going to surprise a lot of people. Is that Steve agreeing? Steven agreeing with me there?
Yeah, Steven's agreeing with Mercedes.
Oh no, changed my mind. Statlander wins the title. Okay, let's go in Stat.
Okay, let me cross this one out. I got to redo that. So you're doing Mercedes, mine?
Yes, I am.
So here's the thing. It's like with this one, it's like if not now, then when? If Statlander isn't doing it, and I feel like this is the time. That first match was almost like not a test, but it surprised a lot of people in the fact that they're like, okay, they want to see more of this because even the commentators are like the longest match, the best match, and blah 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 blah. And so if they can run it back, like I'm gonna pick Stat because, like I just said, if not now, when?
Yeah, and the point that Steve makes is very interesting about this is going to allow for you got Julie Hart, you got some more villains coming in at the advantage there. So all right, you're going Stat. Look at you and Steve going Stat. Very interesting. All right, are we moving on to the next one here?
Yes, moving on now.
All right. Okay, here we go. Oh, all right. What are your thoughts on Takeshita versus Hobbs?
A couple of the times, there we go. A couple of the times, like these matches that has happened on pay-per-views for me, where it's like, man, if this was only a few months later, I could see something different happening. This is still in its infancy stage of the international championship run for Takeshita, and I feel like he's been so in and out of AEW because of other stuff he's been doing. But as I said last week's show, if anyone could dethrone Takeshita, it's Hobbs, right? In my opinion. However, I don't feel like there's enough momentum yet behind Hobbs to dethrone him. So unfortunately, if this was booked a few things later or a few months later, I would pick Hobbs, but I'm going with Takeshita.
All right, it's the Alpha retains. There we go.
Man, you and I, Steven, are lockstep right now.
I disagree with both y'all. This
Wow.
is Powerhouse Hobbs' most important match. And, Takeshita's already come back and forth with Japan, all this. This is opportunity for Powerhouse Hobbs to make a statement. And I think this is Powerhouse Hobbs coming through, and he's going to go to Japan, defend it. And I think this is an opportunity to really give Hobbs what he should have got with the TNT title win. It's time for him to get the international title push. And I think we're going to see Powerhouse Hobbs win after a spine buster. I think Takeshi's going to try with the Blue Thunder Bomb. Hobbs going to reverse it, and he's going to put it into a spine buster, and he's going to get the 1, 2, 3.
So I would happily be wrong on this one. I would love for myself to be wrong on this, because obviously, we speak very highly of Hobbs, and I like the way you're booking with that. I hope it's true, and we'll see where it goes.
I think
Oh my
so.
gosh. I'm looking at AEW's Twitter and Instagram. 3 0-hour matches have been announced, so we're definitely going to have to add those. I don't know if you saw those or not.
I can add them real quick.
Have you seen them?
I have. I only got the one. I got the one that they announced with QT.
We got this one too. Tony Storm. Well, we can run through these ones quick, really, right now, because they're going to be
on the official AEW.
Yep. I mean, come on, we all know Tony's going to win.
She's having such a great rookie year, by the way. This is her, just ever since she joined AEW and became All In. Was it a couple weeks ago? I really like this rookie. I think she's going to be someone to keep an eye on going forward. I think she's really impressing me, and I think she's got championship potential.
You're right about that. I mean, I could see it. I could definitely see it. So I'm sending our Twitter group all of these photos.
All right, and I'm going to add.
Are we all picking Tony Storm?
Here's the thing. As much as I like Layla Gray, I mean, I do like Layla Gray because she's fantastic. I mean, not just Top Flight, her stuff with Top Flight, but she is a close personal friend of La Princesa Tiffany Nieves, and I think she's wrestled with her, so she's got that Princesa spirit. But I think I'm going to go with the rookie on that one. But I'm sure we'll get to it in just a moment here. But let's just
run through those ones really quick. We don't need to put the thing up because they're, in interest of time, the 3 0-hour ones.
Here's
so you're
the
going
thing.
with Tony?
It doesn't take me long. I'm already on it.
Here we go. Did you see the third one?
Yep, I've got. Well, that I actually had already added that one.
The third one with the 8-man tag?
The 8-man tag I added, and the only one I hadn't added yet was Tony Storm and Layla Gray. So let me add that one here in just a second.
There wouldn't be a pay-per-view without an 8-man tag.
Of course. I mean, you gotta do an 8-man tag. There we go. There's that one. And one more. Background. And here's the thing. You gotta have the Outrunners in this one. So let's get back to it. I'm sharing my screen again. We're back on it. And here we go.
Bobby's on the Instagram chat, and he says Tony, so he's a little bit late for our things, but I got him for Tony.
All right, let's get right to it. So I'm going with the rookie. You're going with the rookie. Steve's going with the rookie. And you said Bobby's going with the rookie?
Yep.
All right. I think Full Tilt Deb is going with the rookie because I know she loves me and she would actually participate in this really quick instead of watching more hoarders. I mean, instead of doing her research. So she would definitely go with Toni Storm on this one. So we're going to put her there.
That one's a clean sweep.
That's a clean sweep. And that, again, this is no shade on Layla Gray. She's tremendous. She's awesome. But we're going to stack her. I think the rookie's on fire. She's having a great first couple months here with AEW. And do we have Bobby's other picks from earlier?
Not yet, but stay tuned.
Okay. Well, let's talk about a match that should be much more interesting than I feel like it is. I'm having a hard time being excited about this match, even though MJF got one of the best promos on Adam Cole. He actually went there and said that he needs to be careful with his dental plan because he hears his dentist isn't seeing him anymore. But I think the issue that a lot of people have with this, including myself, and this isn't a slam on the talent, and it's the situation. I think it really threw a lot of people off because the Adam Cole MJF feud was so forced. And when Adam got injured, the whole devil and the Undisputed Kingdom thing, it just really fell flat. And including when MJF first came back, the first thing he did was kick Adam Cole in the nuts. And I just don't think, I think this would have been better if Adam stayed the heel and MJF stayed kind of the anti-hero baby face. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't see Adam Cole winning this.
Unfortunately, with the way it's been built, I agree with you. My pick is definitely MJF, and I think this is one of the ones that is pretty much a guarantee on this with multiple things. Yes, possibly Undisputed Kingdom turning on Cole. There's little plant seeds, you know, as we have said many times, Crayfish has always said, is MJF plays chess while we all play checkers. So, you know, what benefit does Adam Cole get out of winning this? And I don't think much. I think MJF needs to have something to get his stock rising. And I think continuing this, creating a faction, creating an alliance with someone, whatever it may be, keeping that diamond ring, which this ring has been made for him, tailor-made for him to win so many matches. It works. I love where these things are going, Steven. You're right. You haven't seen Kyle O'Reilly since all that. And then a devil mask return. That is interesting. That would be pretty sweet because that was some of my favorite times in AEW was the devil mask saga, the devil mask promos of like, who's it going to be? Like it got us talking every single week of like, what's going to happen. But I feel like this is definitely one of the locks that we're going to do. And I think best for direction of feuds is going to be MJF winning. MJF for Bobby too.
I will say one thing though. I predict the Undisputed Kingdom. I feel like Taven and Bennett are going to turn on Adam Cole.
Yeah, I see it.
Yep.
I think it would benefit them too. They're good heels.
I think so. I think that's going to happen.
I got Bobby's picks. I'll put them in the private chat for you.
Okay. And did he say MJF?
He said MJF.
All right. All right, let's move on. Overstuffed 8-man tag team action. You got 2 sets of high flyers, and you got meat. You got the Murder Machine and the Spiky Pokemon twins versus Top Flight and the youngest men in the business, the old legends. Outrunners and the Flight Runners versus the Murder Pokemon. Also, I heard that the Rock and Roll Express are going to be showing up in Dynamite in a few weeks in North Carolina. And people are already pushing to run back one of the classic matches from the 80s. The Rock and Roll Express, when they were rookie year, they faced the Outrunners, and now we need the Outrunners to run that back again. So we're looking forward to that. All right, so I'll go first because come on, as much as I love Murder Machine, I can't go against my boys, the Outrunners. I can't go against them. Top Flight might end up taking the pen. Maybe we're building up Action Andretti and Leo Rush's team. Murder Machine, they're going to be just incredible, but I got to go with the Outrunners.
Yeah, I'm with you, bud. And, the Andretti, the Rush Andretti, the Action Rush group just beat Top Flight, so it's kind of trading wins. But also, like, where is their title shot? Like, why is that not on this card?
Yeah.
Like they earned a title shot, and that's kind of to circle back to our show last week. It's like there could be something going on behind the scenes we don't know about with Private Party, even though we saw them come out on Rampage and join the chaos in the ring. But it's like, what's going on with this tag division? Like, I think that's a topic we should really hit on next week's show. Like, what's going on with the tag division? How can we fix the tag division? That'd be a hot take we talk about. So food for thought on that. So we have Outrunners for you and I, Leo Rush, Action Andretti, Murder Machines for Bobby.
Murder Machines for Bobby. Okay. And Steve?
He picked Outrunners too.
Okay. All right. And I, Full Tilt Deb, picked Murder Machines and the Spike Brothers. She went against the Outrunners.
Action Rush.
Action Rush. Yeah, she's going with the bad guy team, I guess, the heel team ish. So that's crazy.
Of course she is.
Team heel. All right, we already talked about this one. All right, the women's world title Tijuana street fight. Up until recently, I was obviously any Thunder Rosa match, I'm super excited, and of course Mariah May is fantastic. But this really got my blood pumping when Thunder said Tijuana street fight. And if you saw the end, it was at the end of Dynamite into Collision when Thunder Rosa was beating Mariah all the way to the ring.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be phenomenal. What do you think?
As I said at the top of the show, the wrestling caliber on this card of the main card is as best as it gets, in my opinion, in terms of the quality of the matchups. You talk about Monet and Statlander, which could steal the show. You talk about Mariah and Thunder, which could steal the show, and so many other matches that are. There are a handful of matches that are going to be good, but not necessarily maybe great. That could surprise you, but everything in the Continental Classic could steal the show, and both women's matches could steal the show. So it's like, I'm so excited for the caliber of what we're going to see. Man, I really think this is another one of those where it's like, if not now, when? Because I was at the pay-per-view in April where Thunder had a title shot. And what was that pay-per-view called? Oh my gosh.
Wasn't it all in?
No, April was one in St. Louis.
Oh, Dynasty?
Wrestle Dynasty, maybe?
Yeah.
One of those. I thought that was going to be the turning point. And so with this one, I've been loving the build and all that. And I just like, if not now, when, but I just don't think Mariah, because of the stipulation, I can see Mariah retaining. So I'm going to go with Mariah May. Unfortunately, shame me to the corner when Thunder wins and not sticking to my guns.
Yeah, but look at Steven's booking here.
No, all right.
I think that's interesting.
Do you think Tony though is seeing clearly enough to go after Mariah? She's clearly not on the right mindset.
I don't think she remember when she did the interview with RJ City and RJ goes, "What do you think of Mariah May?" She paused for a second, then she went, the best in the business. And that was one of those things where it was kind of like, I don't know. At some point Tony's gonna remember who she was, but I think this is gonna. I don't know. Brent says Thunder's going for it. She's gonna do it. All right. And you know what? I am gonna go with Brent, and I'm going Team Thunder. I think it's time. I think Tony's gonna cost Mariah May the title, and we're gonna see that feud spark up again. I think it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna see.
You're right.
Full Tilt Deb says Mariah May. She says, "Forgive me, Thunder," but she's going Mariah May
Jeez.
as the champion there. What about Bobby? What about Bob?
Bobby is going with May as well.
All right, Bobby is going with Mariah May. There
It
we
should
go.
be one of the bylaws of Thunder or Dynamite Download, not betting against Thunder Rosa or Murder Hawk and Brian Cage, which we did against too.
yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Hobbs.
I don't know what we're thinking. All right, let's move on to the next one. The most important match of the entire pay-per-view. Jeff Jarrett versus QT Marshall. I'll go with this one.
Man.
I don't see QT losing this at all. I think this is MJF plays 4D chess, QT plays quantum chess. He is thinking like an AI processor, from his shining teeth. I think that Jeff Jarrett's going to be surprised. QT Marshall's going to get a very hard fought, but ultimately he's going to get a clear 1, 2, 3 on Slapnuts.
See, QT has been putting in the absolute work the last few months, and he deserves a victory. And
come on, Brent, this is the most important match. Brent, this is the
I would love to see QT Marshall get the win on this, and so I'm going with QT with you, Mind Runner, because I think he deserves it. Like I said, he's been putting in the work. He did the work with the boom, and then with MJF and an indie show, and then everything with Ring of Honor, and so man, he deserves to get a victory. Get him on the win column ASAP, because this guy is doing awesome stuff. QT Marshall all the way, 0 hour.
Steven saying that
he went to Double J.
He went with Double J. Brent Ross. I don't want either on my TV. Oh, Brent. You're awesome, dude. Brent, so who do you pick? Who do you pick, Brent? Who are you going with? Jeff Jarrett or QT Marshall? Full Tilt Deb's going with Jeff Jarrett.
Is going with Bobby as well.
Okay, so Jeff Jarrett's going to pick Bobby?
Yep.
Okay.
FTD Jarrett, Double J.
Yep.
I need to buy the Double J shirt because I like the Last Outlaw shirt.
Yep. Look at this. The dudes of Dynamite are the only two going with QT.
Well, that's another one of the bylaws.
Yep. We got to go
Thunder,
with that,
QT, Brian. Anyone who comes on the show will never bet against him.
Yeah. Brian Cage, Murder Hawk, Thunder, and Marco Stunt. We got it. We got to keep those. Wardlow.
All right, Brent's got Double J.
I wonder if we're going to see who's going to pick, if we're ever going to see Wardlow at some point. All right.
I don't think tomorrow's the place to do it unless he does it with Death Riders.
Let's see before. Let's make sure we go here. We've Bobby picked. Let's see. You sent me his.
Bobby picked Okada, Ospreay, and then Ospreay to win.
Okay, Okada, Ospreay, and Ospreay to win. And Mercedes. Okay. Oh. And Hobbs or Takeshita. Okay.
Throw yours in the chat, Brent, if you got them rapid fire.
Yep. MJF for Adam Cole. He picked MJF. Yeah, and Brent, if you didn't hear us earlier, we're picking the winner of each, and then we're picking the winner of overall. So let us know if you think, and I actually think Ricochet is winning instead of Okada or Ospreay. So let's make sure we got all these. We got this, and I say Full Tilt Deb is going with Ospreay, and she's going with Ricochet, and she says Osprey's going to win.
She's doing Full Tilt Dubs doing Rico and Osprey. I would love to see that again.
Fletcher.
And she
All
said,
right.
"Who's going to win?"
Osprey is going to win the whole thing. And looks like Brent is going with Okada Fletcher. Very nice. Very nice. All right, let's see. Brent, did
Fletcher
we get
winning?
Yep. Did we get Statlander and Monet from you, brother?
Nope, none on that.
Buddy.
MJF too.
Full Tilt Debsy and Mercedes.
Ooh.
And Brent says Monet. Hobbs versus Takeshita. Full Tilt Deb is saying Takeshita. Brent says MJF. We'll get to that one. And Hobbs versus Takeshita. Did we get that one? He says Takeshita. MJF. We got his Brent, did we get your tag team? Your 8-man?
Outrunners and Top Flight versus Murder Machines and Rush Action. Rush
Action. Yeah, Rush Action.
And Tony Storm won too. I think.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just that one's just that's a gimme point for everybody.
Yep. All right, he's going Outrunners with me. Nice. And with us, yeah, Tony Storm. I mean, Brent, you think Layla's gonna be pull an upset? Nope. He says Storm, of course. I love this rookie. She's hot right now.
She is.
Of course, we got this one. You get this one. All right. Let's talk main event.
Dude, if Top Flight and Outrunners win, you get plus 3 points. Oh my gosh. I was looking at your roster.
And I just think that this is going to be quite.
You get 3 guaranteed points on 0 Hour.
That's going to be crazy. Now, if everybody saw the tail end of Rampage tonight.
Platinum Max is going to.
Oh, yeah, we got you. Everybody's going to. Why did that play? All right, hang on. What the heck happened? All right. That was weird. Okay. Anyways, yeah, so let's talk about it. This is the big mamma jamma here. I don't see anybody else I don't see anybody else but Moxley. I really don't see anybody else but Moxley retaining on this one. Yeah.
It makes no sense for anyone else to win at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on anyone really, but I love what they're doing with Death Riders. But I want it to be better, and I want it to be bigger, and I want it to be stronger. And Moxley retaining, if they've been hitting the Christian Cage, especially at the end of Rampage, he's standing in the balcony looking over, as we talked about on our show, Christian Cage cashing in and not winning would be hilarious. But Moxley retaining is the way to go, I think. But the biggest thing would be such an awesome to run back the way Moxley debuted, where Omega does show up, gives him the guns, and then gives him a V trigger to end the show. Would be pretty sweet. Moxley came up behind him all like lunatic and attacked Kenny Omega, on Moxley's debut. If Kenny Omega was able to reenact that tomorrow, would be absolutely epic.
I think that would be too. I think we see Kenny. We do see a Kenny return. I
hope.
Will we see Darby?
No, Darby's going to be gone for a few weeks. He has to be, because with that kind of abuse,
that's
a.
They killed Darby, you bastards! Oh my God, they killed Darby, you bastards!
That is what they did to him was kind of a send off for a few weeks. I legit think he's hurting after that Continental Classic tournament.
Or he's going to climb Mount Everest, but yeah.
Well, he said he's doing that in April.
Oh, okay.
But I think this is a quiet, take a little time to recover, and then come, dethrone Moxley in a few weeks or months or whatever it may be. But it's
Is Bobby seeing Moxley also? Probably.
He hasn't put his pick in, but he did say he'd like to see Athena show up after the CEO Mercedes Moné match.
Ooh, that would be cool. And Athena did mention that she's been in talks with TK about coming over to AEW for a while.
But there's no way. Mox is definitely retaining this one.
Yeah.
What I want to happen is one of two things. After he retains more members of the Death Rider, as I mentioned before, that's a flare. Mm-hmm. It's a signaling flare that he's been holding that is signaling for reinforcements.
Yep.
Especially after what we saw at the end of Rampage. Two, or a Kenny Omega or someone laying out Moxley to end the show on a high note. Because as I've mentioned before, the last pay-per-view, few pay-per-views, which I'm all for, is the Death Riders just running havoc and like letting us leave the pay-per-view kind of like with a sour taste in our mouth, which is the goal of the Death Riders. Yeah. So they either have, Jack Perry join, Wardlow join, other people join, and we all leave kind of like pissed off, like, oh man, what's going to happen next? Or we leave on a holy shit moment where Kenny Omega returns or someone like that. So it has to be something impactful after this match.
Yep.
I think it'll be a fun match to watch overall, and there'll be some close calls. But in the end, Moxley's going to retain, and I really, 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 really hope there's some really good surprises on this one.
I think
for good or bad. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I would be happy for a heel booing surprise, and I'd be happy for an awesome OMG surprise.
I think this is going to be that this pay-per-view is setting up for Revolution and beyond. I don't think this is an actual, like, this, as much as this is called World's End, this is more of a setup pay-per-view for Revolution. If you caught the promo Christopher Daniels cut with Hangman, he pointed out Moxley's got the Death Riders, Orange Cassidy's got the Conglomeration, Jay White's got the Bang Bang Gang, Hangman's alone. Now, he says, if you need me for anything, let me know. Hangman kind of dismissed it, but he said, I know how it feels. SCU is gone. I'm the only one left. But I don't think Christopher Daniels is necessarily referring that he himself will help him out. I think he means bringing Kenny and the Bucks back.
Oh.
So I think we might see Carry On My Wayward Son. We might see the Elite come back from Japan, or come back. Yeah. Well, because they are prepping for Japan. Both the Bucks and Kenny have matches in Japan. What a better way to promote those matches than to at least show up at World's End. To save the day. So I think World's End, I think the ending of World's End is going to be a lot like the ending of Rampage. It's going to be incredible. And I think it's going to set up. And it is weird that there's no Hurt Syndicate or Swerve, but I think FTR and because they're also trying to really promote the Fight for the Fallen,
right?
And I think that's where FTR is going to have and I think their third member is going to be the return of Adam Copeland.
You think you know me?
Yeah, that's going to be such a pop.
Man, I wish I was home, man. Because I live an hour away from Asheville. I would totally go. Would totally go if I was home.
I think that would be tremendous.
Man, a lot of fun stuff ahead sort of tomorrow. Can't wait to see what it unfolds. The rest of their picks in our chat, in our socials and all that. So I'm excited, man. I can't wait to talk to you after that. Bobby in the chat on Instagram said, what if the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega bring in Hangman and Page to wrestle Dynasty to Japan? So that could be a way to to come in and recruit them for Japan as well. So cross promote both shows and do that. So I like it. Anything is possible, and it's fun to fantasy book it like we are on this one. But whew, all right, show those as we close our show. Here's the rankings as of going into the final push of World's End. As I said a few weeks ago or last week, mine's pretty much got it locked up, unfortunately, but it's been fun. Next season's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking at January 10th that evening for next draft for season 5. And we're going to be brainstorming a couple different ideas, a little bit less wrestlers on the roster and earlier additions to the roster for the +3. So they'll be more impactful. But it's been fun. I love it, man. It keeps me rooting for my team versus other teams. Like, oh, I want this team to lose because I don't want them to have a point on that. But you guys, thank you for joining us.
We also have something very important happening next week, right?
Yeah, after the new year.
Yep. After the new year, we have the Dynamite Download Awards. And let us know, what were your favorite things of 2024? What were your favorite matches, heels, baby faces, moments, promos? Let us know. And, we will factor all the, just like Meltzer and Alvarez, we will factor those in the ultimate decisions.
Yeah, we're going to go through our end of year awards. It's going to be a black tie event, and we're going to go through best babyface, best heel, top tag team. We're going to talk about the breakout star of the year and predict our breakout star of 2025. Top female performer, top male performer, all that. We're gonna go through that of each one of us. Mind Runner is going to get his picks. I'm going to get my picks, and we'd love to hear all your picks for that. So we're going to have that special show next week on Dynamite Download. It'll be Friday night. It'll be Friday Night Live, just like we got our spot back since Rampage is over. Friday Night Flights and Fights, our coveted spot is back, baby. But thank you all for joining us. Enjoy World's End tomorrow, and we'll talk to you on Dynamite Download next week.